The topic is outer space. Exactly. You can see now, outer space. Would we even be talking about outer space? We don't have astronauts. Nigeria has not been to the moon. And we don't even have spaceship. We don't even have Nigerian air, not to talk of spaceship. But then we are not talking about outer space. And people will complain that we are not busy, we are not through fighting Boko Haram, agricultural issue, flooding, electricity. We are now talking about outer space. So why outer space? Outer space is actually central to your existence. You are not just aware of it. Outer space is central to our existence. We are not just aware, we just did not see the connection of that thing. You know, it's like air, oxygen. We can't see it too. It's when you cannot breathe that you know that that thing is important. Oxygen now, you know, is so freely available. We can't see it. It's when that thing, you now rush to the hospital, they're now giving you oxygen that you now say, So you mean this thing is actually that important that they're now forcing you to take through that thing. Outer space regulates our existence in several ways, but we are not just aware of it, of the significance or importance of that thing. So that is why you now see poor countries. Poor countries are also interested in outer space. Rich countries has always been their playground. They were the first to develop interest in outer space. But poor ones too are now waking up. Last year, for the first time now, India landed a satellite on the moon. India landed a satellite. Before it used to be America and Russia. Then later China that have that capability. But India did that on the moon. Now America is now thinking about colonizing Mars. They are thinking about, in fact, you know what Americans are thinking? They want to go to this other, to mine natural resources. I said that things are going on. You are still busy fighting. They want to go to the moon and extract natural resources. They want to go to Mars and look for gold and diamond and extract and sell. But how does outer space now affect us? Different ways now. The easiest way for you to understand that thing is your phone. There's that thing you call a Google Map. Can you remember? Yeah. There is nowhere in Nigeria that thing does not cover. Google Map. Once you use Google Map, you're already in the outer space. Google Map is controlled by satellite. Hey Siri. Google. Location from Oshodi. To Odogunyon. From Oshodi to Ondo State. Then that thing will now say, can you continue kilometer? When you get to somewhere, take left. When you get to somewhere, take right. Then take the middle. When you say, can you stop? Satellite. That thing is being controlled from space. That is why we should be interested in space. I said that thing regulates our existence. You are not just there, aware. Once you have a phone, of course now, that thing they call GPS. Can you remember? GPS made GSM possible. GPS is from outer space. It is global, exactly, it's global positioning system. And that was why I said we should be interested in it. That thing regulates our existence. That thing is actually relevant to our existence, but we are not just there, aware, and we should be interested in it. Not just that thing now. Remember that thing they call weather forecasting? In space now, you've forgotten. That thing is from outer space. Still, that is the third one. Can you remember? That's the third one we are listing. Weather forecasting is from outer space. Not just weather forecasting. Finally, importantly, think of navigation. Igbos will understand cargo. Yeah, that thing will move from China to Nigeria. There is no international waterway. Satellite, outer space. It's the same with plane. I know there are a lot of Abuja people here now. There is no international waterway, highway in the sky. But you enter the plane now, whether it is dark, whether it is raining, whether it is snowing, you know that it knows where it's actually going to. You hear of radar, GPS. They are all from outer space. So you now agree with me that the outer space is relevant to our existence. So whoever controls outer space controls the world. It should be part of your security. Yes, now, if the GSM goes blind, GPS goes, you are blind. Your plane will crash now. If there is no navigation, then your ship, your cargo, all the way from China. There was a man that got lost on that IC. For 3 years, he was stranded. A fisherman, just to go and fish, then wind blew him. Then the thing was just throwing him from one corner of the world there before he was finally rescued 3 years later. Now, they were able to travel from China to Nigeria, all those ships now, because of GPS. GPS is satellite-based, and it is being regulated from outer space. So outer space impacts our existence more than we know. We are not just aware. Once you have a phone, and you can say Google from Oshodi to you're already communicating with satellites in outer space. That is why this topic is actually crucial. That is why Nigeria should be interested in outer space. If they want to destroy Nigeria, they should take over the navigational network. Media, that is it. That's all. The plane will crash. The ship will get lost. You dominate the outer space with the satellite. We'll get to that one now. See, space is just there. That space is just there. But for you to use that space now, you need satellites. Satellites is what we put in space that gives us that GPS thing. Say, satellite brings down images and signal that your phone interprets on the ground. So it is satellite that goes there. That's how you control the outer space. Then you have navigational something. Then you can track. Then you can direct your plane. Then you can monitor the weather based on that satellite imagery. Then importantly for us now, that you can carry out surveillance and reconnaissance. You can eavesdrop, check on your enemy when they are sleeping from space, which is a capability that America actually has. That's it. Think now, they can bomb Nigeria from America without coming physically into Nigeria, outer space. That's what you call cruise missile. You just give the cruise missile, that's a bomb without a pilot, give them the coordinates. This is where you are going to in Africa. 0 points, not degree, and send that something to that. That's a line will position. It will guide that missile, that bomb, to land at its location. So that shows the significance or the importance. There are 4 systems when you are trying to talk about outer space. There are 4 systems involved when you are trying to talk about cyberspace. Now, the first first, you have the ground infrastructure or the ground element. The ground element. Ground infrastructure. That's the first one. 2, you have the space infrastructure or space element. Ground infrastructure, space infrastructure. Then 3, importantly, now you have the signal or the connector. The connector. Then 4, finally, you have the humans. That is what makes up the outer space ecosystem. So you have the ground infrastructure, you have the space, then finally, the 4th one, you have which is the most important factors of production, land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. And we always got that answer wrong. But some will say it's money. Others will say it's land now, that without land, you can't do all those things. You've forgotten out of the 4 of them, one is the human element. It is the human element that connects the remaining 3 together. That is why billionaires in the world are entrepreneurs. They are the one that you have space infrastructure, ground infrastructure, 2, then you have the network, or signal. Then finally, you have the human element. Now, what do I mean by ground infrastructure? Ground infrastructure are devices that receive signal from the satellite. Your phone, and the one they reduce the dish of DSTV. I hope you remember the olden days dish, very big. That thing receives signal from space. Exactly, that thing receives signal from space, not terrestrial, not NTA, not LTV. Exactly. That's why you have to buy that dish. Dish is the act connector. That is what receives the signal from space before your DSTV can work. I think that's the best example. So a miniaturized version is your phone. So your phone receives signal. That's why almost every phone in the world now presently, they have this find your phone. If you misplace your phone now, that you can track it. So that is the ground. I'm just giving you the example of that ground there. Anything that receives signal from space. Then another good one is that thing you call radar. In military terms now, It can track plane. You can track all these foreign objects and the rest of the something. Then for customs and immigration and the rest of them, I don't know if it's true that they have devices that can monitor things. I don't know how they do that. I mean, once they give them intelligence, they give them intelligence that they are bringing contraband from, so they can monitor that thing from point of origin until it gets to Nigeria, and they are arrested. So, you use GPS, you use satellites now. That thing sends that information, real-time data. That's how you trace money laundering. Money now, stolen money or money that they got corrupted, they are now trying to disperse into the world. There's a way they track that thing based on the number that they track it from one country, part of the country, to the other. So I said, one ground implement or devices. So you have your phone, you have your radar, you have all those things. Well, again, remember your satellite dishes. Two, you have the one in space. The one in space are basically satellites. Satellites are the one that sends the information that you are receiving on planet Earth. So you have the one in space, which is basically satellite. Remember, that is the space implement or ingredient, the system now, that sends information back to planet Earth. Then three, importantly, that thing that it is sending, the signal, what we call radio frequency. Signal now, it sends something, then the one here will receive it and interpret it. That is the signal. That one is important too. You have two equipment, one in space, one here. Think of your phone. Your phone receives information from a cell tower. If you put MTN and SIM card, and now remember it receives signal from that. So that is the third element. We call it radio frequency. That is the thing that thing sends now. And if you open your Google Map, you are sending an instruction. Then that thing will bounce it back to you from here to Oshodi. That is radio signal or radio frequency. That is the third element. Finally, the fourth one, is the human. It is the human that makes use of that thing, the three, together. So that is the space ecosystem. It is the human that makes use of those three. I mean, the remaining three together. That link has to be intact for it to work. That link has to be intact for that thing to work. Now, when Russia, and please note, when Russia and not America launched the first satellite, Sputnik, the space age started in 1957 when Russia launched the first satellite. And of course now, not to be left behind, then America now launched its own. Then after America now, you have Russia, then you have China, then other countries are now interested in launching satellites. So the space age started in 1957. With the launch, you can call it Space 1.0. With the launch of Sputnik, Sputnik. So the space age started in the world in 1957 with the launch of Sputnik. It's one single satellite by the Russia. Sputnik. 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 That was when the space age actually started. And back then, satellite would be as big as a motor car or a container. But ladies and gentlemen, now, presently, there are satellites that are small as a loaf of bread. that they now launch, yes, a loaf of bread. In fact, Elon Musk is using the miniaturized Bank of the Earth now to provide these added services to every region of the world. I will explain why he had to launch so many later. Then it was a state government something. Individuals don't have the money. When that space race started, it was being done by government. Sorry, I'm sure you must have heard of NASA. Yes. Yeah, that was what we knew back then. That was the major space agency that we knew in the world. Individuals don't have that capability to launch spacecraft into orbit. It's only government that can do that thing. So it was the government of America, government of Russia, government of China that were doing until Elon Musk now came. Not just Elon Musk. I'm sure you must have heard of the owner of Virgin Atlantic. Virgin Blue Origin. That was the name of his space company. Then the one also created by the world's richest person after Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. Space 1.0. That was when it started in 1957. And that thing expired by 2000. By 2000, you have the second space age. By 2000, you have the second space age. So the first space age was dominated by government. Russia started it, Sputnik. Then again, you now have America, then you have China, then you have Britain, and you have France. Now, the first set of satellites that were deployed were for military purposes. This is the security we are interested in. So the first set of satellites that were deployed, put in space, were for military purposes, for three things: ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. The first set of satellites that were deployed in space were for spying, for intelligence purposes. ISR of satellites that were actually deployed to monitor themselves, to monitor one another. With satellites, you don't have to come to anybody's house. You are up there, like drones now. You are up there checking and seeing. In fact, they are so far away in space, you can't even know that they're actually spying on you. Till today, that is what America uses to check North Korea and Russia and all of them till now. And that is what Russia uses to check everybody. Once you have the capability, you can spy on it is not anybody's compound. You are just up there. And you are using your infrared camera and laser to check what is going on in every other country or any part of the world. So the initial one, that Space 1.0, was for military purposes by states. It was just done by states, not individual. That was why I mentioned the NASA. Americans, they have what you call astronaut. Russians, they have what you call the cosmonauts. That's the name of their own astronaut. China, satellite is in space. Satellite is in space. Are you getting it now? See, there are different levels to satellite. There are those ones like Nokia 3310, which is the one we built. And there are those ones like iPhone 16 Plus, iPhone 16 Pro. Are you getting it now? Yes. Satellite in space. When you put a satellite in space. Now, there is a connection between the satellite and the Earth object. So that satellite can only see that area that you put it. Are you getting it now? When you put it in space now, it can only see maybe Okuku. And the world is always rotating. Once the thing rotates now, you won't see anything again until it turns and gets to that region. But are you listening now? Now, how did they now get across? How did they now cancel that disadvantage? So rather than putting one satellite, they put like 20. Exactly. So as that thing is living this way, this one will send signal to it, still saying the same thing. The other one will send signal. That is what we call geolocation. So they were able to cover Earth constantly. That is why Elon Musk is putting like 12,000 in space. Yes, for his internet now. So he does not have to come to Nigeria before. All you need is this ditch, the Earth, the ground implement. Then you have 24 hours internet. That is how that man can cover everywhere. And he's still building more for every region of the world. The more you it of a particular mineral in Nigeria that they use for battery, lithium now, that battery that powers everything we are using, including anything electronic, that we have that large deposit in Nigeria. So Musk now came and said Nigeria should sell that thing in its raw form to him. For the first time, I love what the Nigerian minister did, under Buhari now. He said, no, come and establish that battery making industry in Nigeria. That is what he did in Australia and what he did in Germany. Battery, whoever controls battery controls the world. In case you are not aware, ladies and gentlemen, whoever controls battery controls. Your phone is dead without battery. Your car, electric vehicle is dead without that battery. Everything we are doing, all those fans that you carry around, I forgot it. Is even your power pack, that thing you use to charge phone, is still the same battery. But we have a natural deposit for the thing that they can use to make that battery in Nigeria. So this man, as you now said, we should sell the sand to him. Nigeria now said, no, we don't want to sell the sand. Come and build the industry here. Produce the battery, they will sell to the other. I say, you people are not serious. But in Australia, he built what we call a gigawatt factory, as big as Lagos, producing this thing, this battery. He did the same in Germany. To corner the world, to control the world still. So that as a car maker, as a phone maker, you have to use his battery. One man. using space to control. So the first phase, 1.0, was the government. Second phase now, government and private individual. Government and private individual shooking hand together to get things done. Third phase, the military. Military application now. How we can use space to destroy ourselves. That's where you now hear of intercontinental ballistic missile. That's one rocket that will carry about 10 warhead or 20. That just one rocket, but it has about 20 warhead now. It will come to Lagos, drop one bomb, continue. One rocket. Yes, military application, intercontinental ballistic missile now. Just one. Drop one in Lagos, the same rocket. Then, of course, we must have heard of what they call the cruise missile. And that was what America used now. They tested that. In fact, they said that was the beginning of the space war. That was what America used in the Gulf War in Iraq. They were using pilotless planes that were being controlled by satellite now, bombs rather, to destroy states without stepping on that state physically. Just type the control from here to Lagos, from here to, it's straight now. And in the fourth phase now, commercialization. Yes, 4.0. Private individuals are now into that thing. There's what you call space tourism. If you have the money, now, just for the fun of it, if you have the money, they take you into space. This outer space we are talking about, it has 4 characteristics. 1, congestion. Congested, yes, congestion. 1, congestion. 2, competition. 3, contestation or contested. 4, cooperation. 3, contestation or contested. Congested, contested, competitive, cooperative. Those 4. Those are the 4 characteristics of the millennium. It is congested because we don't have too many satellites in space.